Hello, 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 and welcome back to Cosmic Conversations on Cosmic Communications YouTube channel. I hope you were here for the first part of this conversation with astrologer Eli. And if you weren't, well, that video is posted before this one, so go check it out. We taped on the 19th of February, which was a water trine day. So he gave us some really good information about the water trine, which is now as above us, how we can tap into that just to kind of understand ourselves more, understand our emotions and our triggers, which we might be experiencing while this trine is above us. Not to get into it too deeply because I'm not the astrologer, but he mentioned that Mars is in Cancer, that the moon is in Scorpio. Scorpio is in the moon right now. That we have a Scorpio moon. I think that's the best way to say it. That Taurus is in Uranus, as well as Pisces being in Saturn, right? So with all of that water energy, that some emotions might be bubbling up and just real ways that we can work through those emotions, see ourselves, know where we're at, as well as some great affirmations that we can use. My contribution was the cosmic permissions, right? Coming up with our new permission slips, our new cosmic permissions. What are we willing ourselves? What are we allowing ourselves? What are we giving ourselves permission to experience? And especially because we're in this new, I would say this we're in a lot of not just alignment energy, but transformational energy, right? Because everything is being transformed around us as well as within us. And maybe we are recognizing the outer transformations more than the inner transformations, you know? I hope that the majority of us are really grounding in the inner transformations and not really getting too caught up in the outer transformations, but perhaps seeing how those inner transformations are right in alignment with the outer transformations and how those outer transformations can really serve us, if not right now, but sometime in the future, because we're all in this process of transformation right now. All right. So, what I wanted to bring forth now is the current crystal, as well as a medicine meal that I put together this weekend, and just how that really came together to bring us some beautiful messages about this new season that we are approaching under in the season of Gab, which is the Pisces season, and how we could really ground more of our permission slips, walk our walk and talk our talk, how we can really continue to feel safe as we continue to co-create, build, collaborate, and expand and shed through this beautiful news cycle, this Plutonian cycle of grand change and transformations. All right. So let's get into it. And the first crystal that came to me was jade. So one of the reasons I'm in green is because we are not just in the approaching the season of Pisces, which is or with Gab, which is all about in the earth, right? And us feeling safe and grounded in our relationship with nature, our relationship with community, and how nature serves the building up of communities, and how as we connect and align ourselves with that energy of Gab in this season, starting February 23rd to March 23rd, how we can really tap into just feeling more safe and grounded as we go about our expansions and our building and our collaborations while so much transformation and challenges are happening around us. How do we feel safe to build? How do we feel safe to grow? How do we feel safe to continue, you know? And how do we do that? We tap into Gab, right? So I'm going to get into it. And we have some crystals that you can also work with to help you to feel safe as you continue to rise and expand in this grand cycle of change and transformation that we all are going through. All right. So let's start with, it's my backdrop. But let's start with the 39th crystal clear message that came out through not just the jade. Again, it's a combination of three things. And I guess we're in this energy of the trine, right? Of the grand trine. Because even when I started just to kind of like tap into the energy, I literally wrote in my book, I said the prosperity of green, the purity of white, as well as the vastness of black. And my came. So first, the jade crystal came, and I have a jade crystal here. Um, but jade also comes in green. Jade also comes in white. So that's why I was tapping into both of these energies. And it just felt like something was missing. And I actually went and I got this crystal. I said, but the black, it's like the vastness of the black. And then later, I actually pulled the crystal. It was a beautiful black crystal that came out. Now, this is not neuromite, but the crystal is neuromite. And I thought, oh my goodness, what a perfect power couple. These crystals are coming up as power couples now. So the power couple we have for the season of Geb is jade and, the green, the white, whichever one you want or resonate with, as well as neuromite, right? And there's beautiful neuromite behind me. And the message, I'm going to just do a share screen so that because some of the wording in the backdrop is cut off. So let's just do a share screen and uh, oh, no, it's going to pull up the wrong, no, don't want that. All right. Uh, unfortunately, my clipboard, now when I need my clipboard to show, it's not showing, but that's all right. We're going to do this. All right. Okay, so let us pull up the crystal message. Now the clipboard wants to show itself. All right. Hopefully it's the right one. Yeah, there you go. All right. So, okay. So the 39th crystal is actually neuromite and its partner is jade. So we're talking about the black and the green, and I just love that. And again, we're in the season of Gab. So Gab is about the earth, right? The green earth. Gab's color is actually brown, that color frequency. But Gab, the season of Gab is all about vegetation and agriculture and nature, right? He's actually referred to as the father of snakes. And I thought that was interesting too, because we're in the year of snakes. So just bringing into union that energy too, the snake energy being grounded and connected to the earth, right? In the seasons of shedding and rising, and transformation, So again, our relationship with the earth really helps us to feel safe and secure as we move and navigate life on this 3D planet, right? So the crystal clarity message from Nuamite and Jade, as well as the lunar dragon, right? The lunar dragon, and it's perfect synchronicity. This is the trine, right? This is the trine of the moon and Nuamite and Jade. And their message is that the rainbow is a divine reminder for healers of an everlasting protection and the promised prosperity of acceptance and embracement of our feelings. The Nuamite crystal really represents this conscious universe and the consciousness of the universe and us really connecting with that, right? So how do we tie in how do we tie in our prosperity? We're in the season of Geb, connecting with the earth, right? Connecting with earth's elements, right? And that being a pathway to not just prosperity, but to feel safe and protected, right? Again, so Nuamite is a stone of deep healing and self realization. It takes us on a very powerful journey into the darkness or the void, bringing light and wisdom to our soul. There's another aspect of Gab too, which is Newt, right? There's Newt and Gab, the Virgo and the Pisces energy, and I thought even just this word newamite, it was almost like dynamite, right? But I found that word like the new you. What's your new you mightiness, right? But again, just tapping into the new you as well as the prosperity, right? So the new might and the jade, but as well as the newt as above and gab so below the earth, right? So again, this combination of what's above us as well as what's below us, right? And connecting to all of that. It says it's a stone of warriors and shamans, creating sacred spaces with deep wisdom, strength, courage. It increases our strength and our endurance during difficult times. And I just want to say, times of transformation. My spirit is guiding me not to use that word. Difficult times but to use the word transformation. So I'm trying to be very conscious with that choice of wording here, right? We're in a cycle and a season of transformation. And the reason why I think it's so important that we look at it like that is because I was reminded that, it's your first response. Interesting. First responders. What does that remind you of? It's your first response that matters the most sometimes. And I just was reminded of times when I had the store and the rent fee came up and they were like, you got to give us this amount of money and this amount of days. And I was like, initially feeling defeated, but then I was guided that, hey, my first response matters more than even sometimes my capacity, right? And then again, first responders, where do we really kind of like crown in on that? First responders was in 2020, right? And again, what is your first response to transforming cycles? Do you feel defeated and are you speaking that, or do you speak that I'm going to overcome the challenge? So and like I said, I was remembering or being reminded of the challenges that I had, and that I learned in those seasons that my first response to the challenge was very important, and that most of the time got me over the challenge. That my initial response was, I'm going to overcome this. I'm going to create with this. I'm going to heal this, So whatever it is, respond at a high vibration at its initiation, at the initiatory process, at the initiation point. Try to conjure or gather up your Haru, right? Your will to overcome, your will to overcome the challenge, right? To overcome the set energy. And and speak into that. All right. So that's not in my notes. That's definitely what came through, right? We are the newmite is a newmite is the stone that again helps us to build strength and endurance, and it helps us to increase. Remember that it helps you to increase, and right, increase your strength and increase your endurance during times of transformation, right? So also be reminded that when you see that the waters are getting a little rougher, that maybe it's just for you to become stronger and wiser, and to increase your endurance. Again, Jeremiah 29 is one of my favorite ones. I'm doing this for your purpose, to propel you, not to punish you. So sometimes we just have to really ground that in, that whatever is happening to our lives, it is for our betterment, right? And to get us to a better point. It says that it's a stone that assists us on the journey of self mastery. So, again, as we travel and as we walk, our paths and travel through life, that, when we're on this journey of self mastery, the newer might, right? The newer might shows up so that we can, to help us, right? To help us with this journey of self mastery, and it also assists us to love all aspects of ourselves, right? What's the message? Acceptance and embracement of our feelings. A big part of self love is just that, acceptance and embracement of our feelings. And neuromite is the stone of healers. It says the shamans and the warriors, right? So it's the stone of healers. So, the healer's journey, you come into that self acceptance. You come into that acceptance of what life is actually showing you. You come into that embracement of, again, yourself, as well as embracement of what is, and then you go from there. It is what it is, and so I must do this. You're right. It doesn't mean that you like it or that you're even in alignment with it, but you see it for what it is and you act accordingly, right? So the newer might definitely shows up for us to truly embrace our inner healer, to recognize and to honor our healing gifts and powers, right? It gives us access to our own medicine, and it shows up to really let us know that we're on the right path, right? As we tap into natural medicine, as well as to the healing arts, as well as healthcare. So I thought, oh my God, isn't that such a beautiful synchronicity and support for the energy of Gab, right? Natural medicine, healers, healing arts, and healthcare. And again, Gab is about our relationship with nature, our relationship with the soil, our relationship with agriculture, and how they impact not just ourselves and our bodies, but also how they support our community, right? So again, we're on the right track, right? Keep that in mind. We are on the right track. All right. And it also guides us to follow our intuition. And come on, now we know the healer has to have this inner authority. And when we go into the medicine wheel, you'll see why, right? The inner authority must be there. The inner authority must be there. What's Jade's message? Jade's message was actually value. Do not underestimate yourself, right? Again, self acceptance and embracement of our feelings. It says to open up to the bounty of the consciousness of the universe and to look within. I love that phrase because it says, again, open up to the bounty of the universe and look within. So make that connection to the bounty of the universe. Align yourself, align your inner authority to the bounty of the universe. I'm going to say it again. Align your inner authority to the bounty of the universe and work with that. not the scarcity. All right. This is a moment where we have to acknowledge our poverty consciousness, or are we walking in abundance consciousness? Where are you? Are you thinking prosperity, or are you thinking poverty? Are you thinking, we're in Gene Key 55, are you thinking victimization, or are you thinking freedom and liberation? And where are you? And I won't say one is a good or a bad place, but just see where you are. Acceptance and embracement, and work with that, you know? It says, begin with an idea that can coalesce into your future reality. This is again Jade's message, right? Let others help you find your hidden treasures. One of the cosmic permissions were, I'm open myself to support, right? Support, and just I open myself for support and serenity and magic, or something like that. Was the guidelines, right? So again, let others help you. You know, let others, again, who do I need to align with to access my hidden treasures? And I'll tell you something. I was listening to um the great Empire of Kemet and their YouTube channel. And one of the things they just mentioned was that the Kemet calendar, it actually helps you to discover your latent talents, right? So it was like, oh, perfect, perfect. Like the same words. Again, we're in a sacred season, we're in a new cycle, tapping into the bounty of the universe, right? Your inner authority, aligning your inner authority with the bounty of the universe, right? In order to untap your latent talents. That's what we're doing here, you know. And as we align ourselves with the higher energies, it shows you, hey, it shows you your latent talent. It helps you, it supports you on your journey of activating and becoming, you know. Again, I wrote rising of the returned jewels, holding the jewel of jade, the prosperity of green, the purity of white, the vastness of black, becoming jade, jade's becoming, rising of the returned jewels, right? So again, we are tapping into and aligning ourselves with the vastness of the I want to say their words, with the bounty, right? And this is a bounty 9 year for me. We're tapping into the bounty of the consciousness of that universe, right? And it says again, embrace and enjoy life on all levels. Okay. Again, these reminders, embracement, embrace. And the moon, the lunar energy is really where this mantra came in. The lower half of it was acceptance and embracement of our own feelings, was from that lunar energy, from the lunar dragon, right? It's because what does that moon do? The moon energy, and I didn't even know what was going on with this trine, right? But it makes so much sense why that moon, why the dragon that accompanied this was the dragon of the moon. Right, the lunar dragon. And the lunar dragon said, accept and embrace your feelings, right? So and when I thought about it, it was like, yes, because the moon is that body, that celestial body. I think the moon is a celestial body. The moon is one of those, is that celestial body that constantly changes, and we see it, right? We see it in the night sky. It's like, don't judge me for being a new moon. Don't judge me for being quarter moon. Don't judge me for being full moon, right? So again, accept me as I am. Accept me in my newness. Accept me and embrace me in when I'm just quarter. Accept me and embrace me when I'm full, you know, and whatever that is. So the moon really is that teacher that says, hey, I come in many forms, and I'm purposeful in all of these forms as well, right? So I can accept myself and I can embrace all of these feelings, right? Again, Jade is about abundance and gratitude. And again, those treasures within. the consciousness of abundance, and recognizing that we are more than enough. And I wrote, yes, I am extraordinary, right? And again, the Newamite, again, about achieving self mastery, recovering our sense of self, acknowledging and celebrating the hard work, and mastering our fears. So, again, we're in a new place. That's why the sacred, not the sacred, but the cosmic permissions are so important, because we have overcome our fears. And we now need to walk with that. We need to ground in the new you, right? One of the statements it says is that I have preserved, learned much, and I did not give up. How powerful is that? And if you resonate with that, then write that down too, because I sure did. It says, I have preserved. Self-preservation. How important is self-preservation? And I don't think we give that really the value anymore that we should, to self-preserve. you know we just need to kind of bring that back into that, these acts of self-preservation. It doesn't mean that somebody else has to suffer, but it should be important for you. Our priority should be to self-preserve. So Jade reminds us about that. I have preserved, I have learned much, and I did not give up. That's such a powerful statement. The Jade also, sorry, the new that sorry, Newamite. I was saying that's from Jade, but that's from Newamite, right? Again, building healthy relationships, our prosperity, as well as knowing and loving ourselves. Again, the consciousness of the universe is proud of you, right? So Newamite brings us all of these messages of, I see you, you've done much and you didn't give up, and stay abundant, stay in that high vibe frequency. Embrace yourself, see yourself, live that extraordinary life, you know, heal, accept, come into the wholeness of yourself. So I wanted to bring these messages forth from the moon, from Newamite, and from Jade, because sometimes we can feel like, the world is not going to work out for us. But we have to, again, trust our inner authority and build that inner authority, right? And before I go into the wheel, I want to, because the wheel also supported a lot of these messages. And it just supported a lot of the messages, as well as complemented a lot of the season. And again, I've been talking about seasoning ourselves with our spiritual seasoning ourselves with our spiritual seasoning, right? Our spiritual season. So there's a lot of seasons and seasoning happening here. And I just was reminded to bring this forth in the Kemetic calendar. And I could take this down now in this Kemetic calendar so that I could bring the Kemetic calendar up. Da, da, da. I stop share. Right. In the Kemetic calendar, there it is. Get it. All right. Very good. Very useful. Very activating. And again, the guy said that this is the calendar that helps you to activate your latent talents. And when I thought about it, I was like, you know what? I've been really following this and working with this, I mean, for a couple of years, but since I got the book in September, and the book has helped to like just bring a lot of things together for me. And I just was thinking of, what has happened to me between September and now. Latent talents are definitely being activated as I go into this new season and cycle. You know what I mean? And it doesn't happen overnight, but you start to see the gradual process and progress and the transformation and emergence of of yourself, right? So where are we now? All right, so the seasonings, right? So again, we are aligning ourselves, right? We are aligning ourselves with one of the things we're aligning ourselves with is our spiritual season. And this is a great opportunity to mention align my oil. It is the oil of Peru and Ma'at, and it's called align because that's what we got to do. We have to align ourselves with our higher self, with our spiritual self, with our new partners, with our new projects, with what we are meant to co-create with. Okay. So check out my website, www.spasmitten.com, if you want your Align oil. And one of my new creations this year is that I'm finally coming out with the Zodiac oil. So the next one would be because now we're in the Newt and Gab. So the next one that I come up will be with this season. I am gonna call it I Create because Gab is all about creation, creation, and creation, right? So we're gonna get into that a little bit more. But just wanted to plug myself with that before I went too far. So we are again connecting and aligning ourselves with the spiritual sign. We have our sun sign, but we also have a spiritual sign. And the spiritual sign is that other half of our zodiac sign. So for me, I'm a Leo. The other half is Aquarius. Aquarius is my spiritual guide, my spiritual self. So now we're going into the Pisces season. So we Pisces is Virgo and Pisces. So Pisces would be that spiritual energy of the Virgo physical being, right? Your sun sign is Virgo, your spiritual partner or counterpart is Pisces, all right? So those who are Virgo would probably be very activated and a lot of things are probably coming into them now as the Pisces season uh, comes in, right? And then I also thought that, look at how does that Pisces energy play out in your life? You know what I mean? So I have a Pisces moon as well as Pisces, my North node. So again, Pisces season. I'm aligning myself with this Pisces energy because I carry it, right? I carry that energy of Gab. So, how do I align myself with this energy in this season so that as I move through the next 23 days or 30 days or 28 days or whatever it is, I am aligned with that higher energy that will help me to navigate and co create until we get to the next season, right? And then we will align ourselves with that energy that helps us and supports us in that. Another word for which I learned throughout the studies was that another word for the guardian is the season. So again, I could also say the guardian of this month is Gab, right? The guardian is the season, right? And that just started to allow me to reflect on just this whole word of seasoning. And again, when we season our meat, it's better for us to preserve it. That self-preservation, the seasoning of salt. Let's just take it there, right? We use salt to preserve, right? Again, when we're seasoning our food, it's so that we can enjoy it a little bit more than eating it raw, right? Adding some flavor to it, right? So think about it that way. You're seasoning yourself with these cosmic guardians, with these energies. And when you season yourself, you are more self preserved as well as you are more pleasurable. So we align ourselves with these spiritual guardians. to preserve ourselves, to protect ourselves. So as we align ourselves with them, we walk in more protection. All right. So this is why I do what I do. All right. So let's now get into it. Let's get into the wheel. Let's open up the medicine wheel, and you'll see again, Spirit was sending me the same messages in different forms. All right. Yeah. New prosperity and tapping into the unconscious bounty, the bounty of the conscious universe and how important that is. Right. All right. So, and saying that, hey, the universe sees you. So make sure, be reminded, like, we're not walking alone. The universe sees you and supports you. So check back at it, tap back at it, say, yeah, thank you. You tag me, I tag you. Right? All right. So let's share screen again. Let's get into the wheel. Because again, the wheel brought so many things up. And I'll just share that so that it comes up, but that's not the one I actually want to show. Let's go into the medicine wheel. All right. Okay. So what are we looking at? We got the south, we got the west, we have the north, and we have the east. And one of the things that came out first that I noticed was that we had some major bodies here, the earth and the sun. And I was like, oh my God. Right? This is a big message, right? The earth and the sun, and that those two cards were upside down. So this is called a medicine wheel. So these two cards are upside down, and that just meant to me, just on the first glimpse, that hey, there's a lot of transformation going on with the earth, right? And the earth also represents our bodies, right? So there's a lot of transformation going on within us. There's a lot of transformation going on around us. The sun, that's a big energy as well, another big celestial energy, right? So the sun is upside down. That's a lot of changing, right? Whether we're changing mindsets, changing our bodies, changing, this whole everything, right? Because the sun is a big thing, right? So there's a lot of change happening here. There's a lot of transformation. And again, who popped up? The Gene Key 55, right? The dragonfly, right? Which is again, time of great change. So guys, we're in this whole change cauldron, right? Something's got to change. Something's changing. Something will change, right? Again, co-created. What do you want this change to be for you? Co-create with the bounty of the universe, right? So just looking at that, right? Changes are happening. And then the other side of it, the rainmaker and the giraffe, right? So let's get into it. Let's start with the giraffe. The giraffe is about, again, our inner authority, right? The giraffe is something that is one of my spirit animals. So I work with the giraffe energy a lot. And when I, again, just seeing it, I thought too about our visions changing, standing on that high. You're not even so much changing, but elevating, ascension, just think about the length of the giraffe's neck. That's actually what I was contemplating, the length of the giraffe's neck. And in the human body, the neck actually acts as a bridge between our lower body and our higher body. So I was thinking, oh my God, just that journey of the giraffe from his neck, right? So again, there's some ascension here, right? And seeing things differently. Again, the giraffe is almost like that ego, the bigger vision, right? So the giraffe is also the staff, right? And that's all about the inner authority. So that someone that is able to also hold the power between extreme tempers, right? So again, not being, it's almost like the pole that allows the flag to flow, without getting swept away in that wind, So again, as we're in this cycle, this Plutonian energy, right? Right? And the Aquarian energy, as Pluto and Aquarius do their things in this new cycle, um, Where's our inner authority, and how are we tempering ourselves between these extremes, right? It's really about the middle path, the way in the middle, and maintaining our balance, finding again the right course of action, and then going with that, you know? So again, this inner authority, what's the right course of action for me? And because it's in the south position, that means that, hey, again, change, because the South is, what am I going to let to shed? Right, the snake shed. So we shed in the South. So because we're coming into a new authority, or we're we're shedding that outer authority to come into more of a endured and stronger inner authority, or our inner authority is just again strengthening. You know what I mean? There's a shedding that's happening that's causing our inner authority to have more of a priority and a pivotal role in our life. And I'll get into that more when we get into the sun. And again, you know, in the south we're shedding, but in the north, it's like what's coming to us. So we're letting something go, but something's coming in. And we'll see how this inner authority with the sun, how they both tie into each other. The card also reminds us that Moses carried the snake staff, right? And he could heal or call plague. So again, I think that is to remind us too of, again, we do have an inner authority. And remember, I was talking about responding and that first responders. So again, am I here to heal? Because this is, again, the Nuamite is for healers. So am I here to heal? Or am I here to destroy? And we have to individually make that decision for ourselves, right? Again, it's talking about trusting our inner wisdom and uniting what seems divided, finding that delicate balance between what we will ourselves to do and what we need to surrender to. Ah, right? That is the balance. That's the 838, right? What am I willing myself to do? But where do I surrender? And that is such a peaceful place. That's such a powerful place to be in. Yeah, I know I got to do this, and I know when I need to surrender. Let that be your inner guide, right? Let that be your inner guide. So now we're going to the earth, right? So the earth, and again, the earth is in the west, and the west says, well, we need to let die. Right? But the earth also represents Geb, right? So that too was saying, okay, again, we're coming into this change of season. And remember, what did I say with Geb? Geb is all about agriculture and soil, right? The season of Geb, February 23rd through March 23rd, right? It's about healing. It's about tapping into the younger people in our family to heal family problems. Again, the lineage, right? It's about a season of harvesting and fertility, renewal, vegetation, minerals, the soil, ground, agriculture, sustenance, right? It's a big part of sustenance, reproductive health, and again, prosperity, right? So we're in the season of Gab, and Gab represents the earth, right? So we're asking ourselves in the West, you know, what do I need to let die? And what I was getting here is like, again, we're shedding and we're releasing this old way of the earth being, where we weren't really tapping in to nature. We weren't respecting this abundance of nature and giving the sustenance that nature gives us. Really, it's reverence, the sacred reverence that we need to give it, as well as the priority, you know? So we're letting that die because we're moving into this new cycle of life. And I've been saying it to myself, and it just hasn't happened until now. But I'm like, you know, this whole new world order, I've been saying it's the natural world order. That's what we're returning to nature, right? It's the nature's world order, and it's not necessarily new because because really that's what the ancients taught us to cultivate this relationship with nature. That is what their spirituality was all built on, their understanding and how nature was teaching them in that spiritual way. It's union with them, reflecting with them and communicating with them. So, we are changing earth. Earth is changing, and that's why not just the earth came in reverse, but also the sun, and we'll get into that even more. So the earth and Geb, the season of Geb, is also about our bonds and our reliance on earth for sustenance, for life, and that connection between community and nature and the natural world, right? Celebrating earth as a divine force, essential to our survival as well as our prosperity. It's about harvesting steeped in spiritual, and I wrote sacred significance. Okay. So we're going back to that, right? So that's why I think the earth is in that reverse position, because we are returning to a time, and that's why things feel so tumultuous and chaotic. But really, again, having that eagle's vision, having that inner authority too, and developing that relationship with nature so that you can actually feel that. Like, that's not just coming to you from outside, but yourself is actually telling you that. You're actually seeing that within in your life, that is actually playing out, that your connection with the earth, that your connection with nature is helping to sustain you and provide you with more prosperity and abundance, and speaking to you in a way that says, you're good, because of this relationship that you've cultivated with me, and again, our relationship with food, uh, how are we feeding ourselves? How are we feeding our body? Are we holding that relationship between what we're consuming and our bodies? Is that sacred? When we don't feel well, are we going to nature for that healing? Are we doing the grounding? Are we taking the nature walks? Are we going to the beach? Are we just sitting in silence, listening to the wind? Are we immersing ourselves in the seawater? Are we really tapping into these elements, these healing elements around us that nature gives us freely? Or are we overwhelmed by the doctor bills, when really a lot of the solutions to our health and to our prosperity, as well as to our peace, is really right there in nature? And nature is calling us um, to rekindle and to create that sacred relationship again with her, all right, and him. All right, so we're in the season of Geb, and Geb's mantra is I analyze. So I'm able to look at life at, it's not just surface, it's again the depth. The Nuamite is the depth, and the healing, and the earth. How deep does the earth really go? Earth is surface, you know what I mean? So I analyze, being able to look at the layers of life, the layers of the earth, right? And really just having that deep resonance and respect for the earth, right? Holding her in and him in its sacredness, and as the card said, it's a celebrating earth as a divine force, essential to our survival and prosperity. Sorry, that's not from the card. That's from the book, from the Kemet African Royal Calendar book. All right. So that's the earth aspect, right? That's Gab speaking to us, saying, connect with me, connect with me. I'm coming in. My season is coming in connect with me. All right. And again, you see the jade in the middle, and I just thought to put that jade there because it's a crystal, right? That the prosperity of the earth, right? These crystals come from out of the earth. The earth is rich. And remember, it was also Nuamite saying, connect with the elements, connect with all of you. Or was that jade? Right? Connects with the elements and the minerals and everything of the earth, right? All right, so let's now talk about the sun. Let us talk about the sun. I just want to just make sure I didn't leave anything else. And again, yeah, let's just running through my notes. Being stewards of life, again, with the earth, right? Being stewards of life and how that connects us with health and wealth and security, grounding, stability and solidity, right? So just making sure, like I said, don't want to leave anything out, right? So let's get to the sun. Now, this was such an interesting, and like I said, between the crystals and the medicine wheel, I'm hoping that you can see how it's all supporting each other. The message of connecting with the earth, your prosperity, healing, connecting with nature, trusting it, grounding it in, all of that. So now we get to the sun, and again, big energy, right? And it's upside down. So there's transformation and there's change. And again, this is what's coming in. So what's been coming into me is I've been tapping into my algorithm. It's been sending me a lot of creation stories that I have really been enjoying, and different creation stories from different cultures. And they're so mind expanding. It really helps you to ground in, again, the vastness and the bounty of this conscious universe, right? And the indigenous and the ancient ones, they really, I guess it was their purpose too, because they really left us these gifts to be able to and showed us how to connect with these energies, right? And they did it so well, right? So I've been looking at all these different creation stories, and one of the ones I came across, he mentioned the fifth sun. And as I listened to that, I was like, but we passed the fifth sun. Didn't we start tapping into the sixth sun? And so I just made a note, like just tap into read about the fifth sun and the sixth sun. And I think we're in the sixth sun, like just see where we're at. And I did, right? But I'm going to close up with that message of the sixth sun just to remind us of, again, where we are and ground that in. All right, so the sun energy, the card of the sun really wants us to show that wants to remind us, sorry, that the sun allows light to sprout from the dark, right? Allowing light to sprout from the dark. And again, we're in the season of intentions, the nine, which is the solar energy of intentions and permissions. And the sun says, I allow light to spark from the dark. And I was tapping into, again, this black. And when this card came up, as well as the Nuamite, there was like this activation within me. And I was like, I see the dark sun now. Now I can see the black sun. It was just like this click. It just clicked with me. And I remember starting this process of the 44 crystal messages. It first started at 40, and then I was like, let me do 44. And I've been thinking I decided to do 44. Should I do 45? Because I'm in my 45th year, right? And even just looking at the card, it was like, like it's in reverse again. So it's like, okay, well, what's the reverse of the sun? And I just, the answer was like the black, and it was like, yes, right? The void, right? So again, what's the reverse of the sun? The darkness, right? The black, as well as the moon, right? And the moon shines in the darkness and all of that. So it was really pulling into me this dark energy, right? And the power of that. And it literally says, the sun, I allow light to spark from the dark. So the sun is dark, right? Because the sun allows light to spark from it. The sun is dark. The sun is dark. The sun is black. It's on fire, and that's where we see the orange. But the sun is black, just like that Nuamite. And when we go back to that Nuamite, you'll see that. It, imagine this, the Nuamite on fire. Imagine coal burning. It's the sun. The sun is black, right? But we don't see that. But the sun is black, right? Night, the card says, night must have its equal time. Balance. Night must have its equal time. And this is the sun saying this. So the sun is saying, acknowledge my darkness. Acknowledge the black within me that allows light to sprout. That's big, right? It says, do not be blinded by the light. And with that blinding by the light, it goes in deeper to say, don't worship anybody. Don't be enamored with yourself or somebody else. So again, holding everything in balance. Don't get carried away, right? Um, and I wrote your ego, be in balance with your ego, right? Allow your ego. This is a conversation I was having a couple of weeks ago with people. Allow our ego to support our soul, right? Keep it all in balance. And it says, do not be afraid of the waning of the light at dusk. Again, don't be afraid of your darkness. See your darkness. Yeah, you're gonna shine some days, but there's also this dark night that allows the sparking to happen, the sprouting. Hold that in just as much reverence as you do the glow and the shine, right? And again, we're in the new season. We're in a new sun. We're literally in the new sun. So, and I'm going to end with the sun message. I'll go forward to the rainmaker, but I really am going to wrap it up with the sun message. And again, just tying in, hey, the seasoning, right? So learning that spiritual half of yourself, seeing again the dark. And then I say the dark, I mean the invisible. Because again, it's the sun sign that we deal with, but what's our spiritual side? What's that unknown part of ourselves? What's supporting? Because everything, spirit is the building block of the material world. So yeah, I might be a Leo, but what's really building me up and creating me is that Aquarius energy. You know what I mean? We might be the sun, might be Virgo, but what's really speaking to you, that inner authority, that spiritual guide, is that Pisces, is that gap. So don't forget about the waning, don't be afraid to tap into the waning of your light, right? The moon, right? Um, yeah, so now let's go into the rainmaker. And the rainmaker, of course, that's manifestation, right? And what did I say? Gab was about? Gab was about, the sustenance of the earth, right? And prosperity, right? So the rainmaker, here it is where it's about the elements. I probably went a little ahead. So the rainmaker is the master of manifestation, right? Calling on the elements to serve the greater good. It's all about co-creating with integrity and co-creating to create great beauty that benefits you as well as all around you. Its message is create something new with the elements that are already in your life, right? And it reminds us to stay in the present and to work with what is. So again, working with the tools that we have, not going so far out and saying, I can't do it because I don't have this and I don't have that and I don't have that. There's so many days that, something comes up and I might be thinking, oh, I need to go here and get that, da, 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 da. But really, I'll just spin around my house a couple of times and I'll have everything. Or I'll know who I need to call. Or I know where I need to go to get it. You know what I mean? It's within my reach. I have access to it. I've aligned myself with it. So again, work with what you got. And if you need something that you don't have, yeah, man, write that down and you will yourself to get that there. That's part of your cosmic permission. You know what I mean? That's what we activate and affirm into our lives, right? That's what we manifest. That's what we say, okay, spiritual sign, spiritual season, I need the computer. Let's manifest that. You know what I mean? And we work with that. And it says, do not hold back. Put all your chips on the next roll of the divine dice. So again, I put things in gold because I'm like, remember, we are in the golden years, right? No matter how crazy it might look, remember these are the golden years, right? So tap into the golden wheel and know that, hey, it starts with your inner authority and it ends with manifestation, but not just manifesting, but manifesting with integrity, co-creating with the bounty of the universe, aligning yourself with your inner authority with that bounty, right? Creating beautiful things that benefit everybody. And just knowing that, hey, I'm in the divine cycle of my life, right? Gab says, I analyze, and Newt says, I believe. So we're going to create. We're going to create something. That's what the Rainmaker is, the master of manifestation, right? And that's the wheel, right? Don't forget about your inner authority. Build it. Align yourself with what's above you, as well as definitely align yourself with your spiritual season, your spiritual counterpart, right? Understand and acknowledge and accept and embrace that we are in a grand cycle of change and transformation. The earth is changing, the sun has changed. And with that, we got to come into new beings within even our own selves. Do not let anybody convince you that it's not a prosperous season. We have to create our prosperity, and that will take some changing of our mindsets, changing of how we think about each other, how we think about ourselves, how we react, how we respond, how we can become proactive and co-creators. And what is your relationship with the earth? What is your relationship with the elements? What is your relationship with your spirituality? All right. And we're going to wrap it up with a message from the Cherokees. And it's about the sixth sun. And I had to pull it up, and it was just right on time. Right. And it's really going to tie. And now the sixth sun was from 2012, right? So we are about, uh, we're about, let me come off a camera for this part and then I'll just wrap it up. We're about, okay, so 2012 was the sixth sun that transitioned between the fifth sun and the sixth sun. And we're in 2025 now. So we're in the 13th year. I remember there was like something about that. Somebody said 13 today, and I was like, what is that? 13, 13. So we're 13 years into that, right? 2012 to 2025, I think. Yeah, 13 years. 12 and 12 is 24. So we're 13 years into the sixth sun, right? And again, remember that 13th energy? But anyway, let's, me and numbers. I could take it there. So I ended up like researching the fifth sun and the sixth sun and getting into that. And I pulled up that article, but before I just start to read that, I just want to show you this, right? So an epoch, stay with me here. An epoch is every 25,000 years. right? 25,000 years. That's a long time, right? So remember, we're always in a cycle. We could be in a 365-day cycle, a 13 moon cycle, a 2,500-year cycle, a 520-year cycle, a 25,000-year cycle, okay? And we're in the sixth sun. So we have done 25,000 years six times, according to the Mayans, and that's just one group of people, right? Other people have other records, right? So a new epoch happens every 26,000 years, right? Now we ended the epoch of the heron and we began the epoch of the sunflower in 2012. Now, you know about the sunflower, right? What does the sunflower do? It follows the sun. Keep in mind, the sunflower follows the sun. Okay? So we're now in the epoch of the sunflower, which started in 2025. Sorry, in 2012. So we're 13 years into that journey, right? Of a newness, right? So my little math brain said, all right, 2012. So again, so they counted in years in cycles of 52, right? So every 52 years, there's a new cycle. And then they say, okay, so 52 times 10 is 520 years. That's another cycle. And then that 520 years times 100 is 5,200 years. That's another cycle. And then that 5,200 years times 6 is the epoch. That's where they get 26,000 years. Okay. So my little brain was like 2012 minus 520. So I did it. And guess where it landed? 1492. Like, what? Let me calculate that again. 2012 minus 520 years takes us to 1492. Well, I remember that year. Columbus. Oh, wow. So you mean 520 years to 2012 was when Columbus came and started all this bullshit, right? This confusion, right? This displacement. And I said, wow, that was seeded. Even though like that was years before I was here, or one of my beings was there, right? This being was there. But the seeds of that time are still structured in our civilization, right? That's still, I mean, the man just cut him down a couple of years ago over here, the statue, you know what I'm saying? So those roots and seeds are still really in play, right? Even though that was a 520-year cycle, we were still kind of there. You know what I mean? And deeply rooted in that, in those actions of that time, in those intentions and permissions of 1492. Think about it. So 520 years from 2012 is 2,532. 52 years takes us to 2064. That might be a little more relatable, right? But I just wanted to bring that in terms of, listen, put down your intentions and put down your permissions. See how these things that happen that we think, oh, that was years ago in a different lifetime and a different people, it's still impacting you. Systems and societies are kind of still built on those beliefs. Things are changing. Things have to change, right? And we're changing with it. So again, keep in mind, we're in the time of the sixth sun. Right? And this write-up was done in 2012. So it's interesting just to read it now and look back at it. And again, we can rededicate if you're not dedicated, if it's not really grounded into you, how big of a moment of change we have been in since 2012, and how a lot of things that we've seen 2012, 2020, 2024, 2025, all of it is ushering in the sixth sun. And the sixth sun is asking us to be different, think differently, and act differently, to do different things. The layers and layers and layers and layers and the structures of Earth gotta change. All right, so let's go directly into the message from the Cherokee, and we will end with this. So I'll just say thank you. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for this opportunity to share with you these messages from the Lunar Dragons, the um, the crystal realm, the Nuamite and the jade, as well as the medicine wheel of from the earth and from the sun and from the giraffe and the staff and from the rainmaker within you. All right, so let's end it with this beautiful message and reminder from the Cherokees. All right. All right, let's just go to the sixth sun. All right. And Northern Cherokee Nation, feel free to go to their website. I'm not going to read all of it, but please do go back and read all of it. It says, okay, yeah, I don't want it to do that. It kind of, I don't know. I hope y'all are seeing it fine. It says the last world, and especially the nine hells at the ending of the last world, constituted a time characterized by people being afraid to think for themselves. Hold on. Did I start that too early? Okay, no. Mm-mm. Says the last world, and especially the nine hells at the end of the last world, constituted a time characterized by people being afraid to think for themselves. It was a time in which we trusted the experts to tell us what to believe, the experts in theology, the experts in politics, the experts in medicine, and experts in finance often deceived people using fear as a primary tool of manipulation and control. And read the whole thing because he explains what the nine hells were just basically like the latter part of the sixth sun, the latter years. I think he says which started from like the 1500s. So again, 1492, right? The nine hells, right? We were controlled and led by experts that used fear as their primary tool of manipulation and control. Let that really sink in with you, right? The sixth sun has risen 13 years in. We are now in the sixth world, the epoch of the sunflower. That for which we have waited and watched has arrived. What this new world will be is yet to be seen. Will it be just like the old world? Or will it be better? Will we human beings be courageous enough to lift our faces and to open our eyes, ears, hearts, and minds? Will we finally learn to see, hear, feel, and think for ourselves? Whatever this world will be, it will be what we make it. Again, this is written in December of 2012, right? So we're on a journey, guys, and 2025 is just the beginning of it, right? But embrace it. We got to see the outside changes. We also have to see what the higher realms and the astrology and the cosmic energy, what they are supporting, and get into alignment with that. Because if the sun is telling you, y'all need to stop listening to these experts, quote unquote, but you're like, I don't know what to do, expert. I don't know. The sun is like, man, I put something inside of you. I need you to tap into that, and you will be guided. Tap into the bounty of the consciousness of the universe. Let that be your staff. Let that be your giraffe. Let that be your expert. And again, we're 13 years in. So, catch up. The world around you is changing. You are changing. Let it be. Let it all be new. All right. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your wisdom, your beauty, your patience, your love. My name is Akita Akari Aurora, and I am out of here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Mwah. And remember the 39 crystal clear message. All right. Healers, when that rainbow shows up, remember it's safe. It's safe for you to trust what you feel and embrace it because you'll just continue to heal. Heal the world as well as heal yourself. All right. Bye. How about it?